evening, everyone. My name is Rashidati Ghosh. I am the senior assistant editor of a magazine called the Banking and Finance Post, India's leading bi-monthly magazine on innovation in BFSI sector by Elets Technomedia, and I am here to welcome Miss Uma from Ixsight, and she'll be sharing her views on how Ixsight is helping NBFC sector in combating the fraud and the cybersecurity issues that are in major highlight post the pandemic outbreak. So I would first like to know you from Miss Uma that we all know how the pandemic brought digitization into focus, which is a blessing in disguise apart from the challenges that we all underwent. How do you think it has helped the risk management or fraud landscape, broadening its scope and helping organization in leveling up their cybersecurity measures? Over to you.
Thank you for that question. So I will, of course, try to explain it in terms of the journey since the last 3 years. To start with, prior to this, we have always had NBFCs as clients because they have been very sensitive to fraud during loan application, and these have been largely restricted to the large NBFCs, whether it is in credit cards or housing loans or personal loans. But during the pandemic, few things changed. First of all, it was an opportunity and it was a problem. The opportunity was a lot of people lost their jobs, they wanted loans. Secondly, those who genuinely wanted loans and didn't lose their jobs, they were going online and asking for it because physical outlets were, not there, and there was no sales agents. So this changed, and personal loans started gaining a lot of importance because nobody was looking for two-wheeler or home loans. Now we all know that in personal loans, quick turnaround, high interest rates, but at the same time you want to make sure the person does not run away with your amount. Collection agencies were having a hard time. In this kind of environment, prior to the COVID, breakout, there was a lot of investment. A lot of organizations had made in call centers, in automation systems, and they needed to see some returns on that. So while the everybody wanted a loan, we wanted to go to the right person. So in this kind of atmosphere, we saw that, and a lot of the companies had a lot of time to strategize. They were at home and they were working longer hours, and we really saw some good thinking on the part of NBFCs, even insurance companies and other financial institutions, greater sensitization and greater adoption, and they were willing to talk, conduct proof of concepts, and those who were already our clients started taking it to a higher level. They wanted a faster processing, quicker turnaround, higher accuracy, more kinds of negative checks, more kind of various kinds of fraud pattern checks. All this happened during COVID, so it was really a remarkable time for us. We learned to deliver it remotely as well, so that happened. And now post COVID, we find that NBFC sector in particular has evolved. It's here to stay. We only thought of banks earlier. NBFCs were more limited to the top 5 or 10, and mainly they were in specific segments, deposit, non-deposit. Today I think housing finance itself is fairly large. Apart from the big players like HDFC, they have spread out in all the Mofussil towns, tier 4, underbanked segments. Similarly, personal loans and SME loans. So here again they are adopting technology on cloud. They want to quickly go online. They are going away from tradition, and all the people who are working there have come from the bigger players. So there is an awareness that fraud and compliance are critical things to make profits. So even if their size is small, they are clearly aware, and we are really seeing that change. It's taking time for them to decide, but definitely there is a lot of change. And the intelligent questions they ask, and they all have risk departments, technical departments, and some of them we have seen them go ahead. In fact, 2-3 very small NBFCs have enrolled and engaged with us, and they're really seeing the fruits of that. So it's been a great journey.
Thank you, Ms. Uma, for highlighting the importance of cybersecurity in current scenario. Yes, of course, we believe that this pandemic in particular has helped several organizations in leveling up their cybersecurity measures along with digitization, like most of our experts believe, which has been accelerated by 5 years. I think cybersecurity measures have also seen an upliftment, which we were not able to think 5 years ago. We have reached, I think, that level so quickly with the intervention from the solution providers. Now, since you have underlined the scope of the segment, I would like to know about the use cases. How are you helping the segment in particular in combating the same?
Yeah, so one important thing, you cannot be a technology provider without understanding the business function. So one of the things our company or Ixsight has done is to closely work with the end functional departments. We have never been a pure technology solution provider. Technology is taken for granted. We have to be the best in technology. Each use case is different, and even within a particular organization they have different departments. So let's take an NBFC. They may have home loans, they will have SME loans, two-wheeler loans, and they'll have personal loans, they have loan against property, so many loans. So you cannot do one size fits all. Each risk manager in that organization sees risk differently. The board which is present, which is, they have people from all across the globe. So the board members want that certain compliances be followed, certain AML checklists be done. So I'll give, without naming, I think we have had one or two excellent use cases. They started small. If you look at them, you'll probably think they're not there among the very top, but they were very sensitized to this. They wanted to start. First, they started with just getting their act together. With so many sources of data, more than 25, 30, they needed first to get it together. It's a whole different game within their system. So they ran multiple proof of concepts. They got buy-in from the risk teams, compliance teams, and then they started the journey with a few departments. They first got the data together. They first saw the common portfolio of a single customer. Then, they built some kind, they asked us to create some interfaces where they could take decisions. So this is just beginning. Then they said, no, this is not enough. We need to see his entire 720 plus view, which means the performance of that loan also has to be seen. So that got updated into the system. Then there's a fraud control unit which wants to see, whether this person has done this, that. So we built in all that. Then we also supply alternate data. Then we have various fraud patterns. So which tell us whether the person changed his income and reapplied. So that becomes critical. Then each what do you call finance segment has specific nuances which are different from each other. A home finance, for example, we look at it very differently from a two-wheeler loan. Two-wheeler loan is crazy. The guy who buys it, there are references. They take references and there are sales guys. You need to see there is no nexus between them. It's the same. So you need to check all these relationships. The people who surround you make up your character. So when we say social networks, this is how our software helps, and this is what they need. And two-wheelers, when it's festive season, it's crazy. The amount of loans demand that goes up. And there you need to be very clear that nothing slips in, a bad loan. So you help that. Whereas a home loan, a little more slow. But then you really need to check builders, you need to check, the guarantors are common across groups, etc., etc. So all these things, they have graduated, and now today, the old system. Okay, so now they have something for the compliance. They have for each specific segment. We have a separate scenarios and logic which are weaved into it. The relationships, the nexus, everything gets established very quickly. So it's been a great journey. Not to mention the compliance requirements, the anti-money laundering. Those checks also need to be seen at onboarding. So this is a use case. I think we have been a partner, and the client has been equally dedicated and devoted, and cross-functional teams have worked with us. So that's a use case.
So first of all, congratulations on the part of the use case that you shared, and we are happy that your client was on the same page talking with you, and you are innovating along with your client and on a segment that actually is very significant at today's scenario when we are all digitally exposed. So to end this conversation, I would like to know your views on how did you like to be a part of this conference, that is Elets 12th NBFC 100 Tech Summit. We are organizing the 12th chapter, so you have joined us this time. How was your experience, overall experience?
Okay, so here is my take on this. So it's a very focused kind of NBFC thing. That itself says something, you know. So 12th chapter, but I think I don't know about the first chapters, but today I think the time has come, and to have a dedicated NBFC summit with a very this place is a landmark. It has seen many conferences. It's been a long time since we saw physical conferences with excellent speakers. I've seen the booths, all of them look so good. And I think there's this air of seriousness. There are good people who have come in. We have got to meet our old customers. We are meeting some new faces. It's got that nice vibe to it, and I see a lot of networking, engagement, and useful learning. I must truly say, I've asked my colleagues as well since I came a little later in the day, and they too say the same thing and they echo the same thing. I'm really glad. I hope to see more of your conferences. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the motivation quote. But overall, we, on behalf of Elets Technomedia, would like to wish you all the luck, more power to you with your work and innovation. I hope to see you soon once again in any of such conversation that we hold.
Great. Thank you.